Bridging Gaps, the business podcast with Debra Levitt, sharing the challenges and stories of fellow business owners. And welcome. Today I have Tomas Svitorka with me. Hi, Tomas. Welcome.
Hi, Debra. Great to be here.
How did I do with the name?
Really, really well. I'm very impressed. Yeah.
It's one of those things you don't realize how often you don't actually need to pronounce somebody's last name. You just read it and you call them by their first name.
That's true. Yeah, totally.
So, Tomas, I'm really pleased to have you here. Thank you very much. And Tomas is a life coach, and I was wondering if you could just tell people about what it is that okay is not enough does.
So, yes, I'm a life coach and also do business coaching. And the philosophy of my coaching is, as you said, okay, it's not enough. So what that means is I work with professionals, entrepreneurs, decision makers, managers, for whom okay is not enough. Simply people who want more from life in the areas that are important to them. They don't want to settle for being average or mediocre. And in the coaching language, I would say they want to tap into their true potential.
And what led you to to coaching generally? So I know that you made a decision quite some time ago that you wanted to change where you were in life and have reached to this very successful point. But how did you get from that point, back when you were in your mid-20s, to deciding to be a coach and coming up with okay is not enough?
So in my early 20s, I got into personal development and started reading books, how to influence and influence people and all those classics. And that alone blew my mind because I realized that who I am and how I show up and how I run my life is not set in stone, that I can grow and get better. And it was just such relief to me. And it was so exciting that I started absorbing all these books on personal development, which led me then when I was 25 to go to university and study psychology, which was the next step. I wasn't necessarily aware of coaching as a profession. So loving personal development, helping people, the human mind and just helping people grow. So I thought I would become a psychologist. And when I finished my degree or was finishing my degree, I realized that I don't want to be a therapist. I don't want to be a clinical psychologist or work in a lab. I still want to help people, but I also want to have my own business. And more importantly, I want to be on the kind of the positive side of personal development. And I started exploring. I can't tell you exactly how I discovered coaching. I think, somewhere through the books, the word was mentioned. And I realized, hold on, there's this thing called coaching, and it ticks all the boxes. So I wasn't sure whether I could even do it. Could I make a living through that? Would I be any good? Would people take me seriously? Do people need coaching? But I said, you know what? I'll give this a year. See what I get. If I give it my everything. And in a year, I realized I wasn't as far or as successful to make full-time living through coaching. But I completely fell in love with that. So I just stuck with it, and here I am today.
And what is it that you really like about it? What gives you that, I guess, that buzz and that satisfaction to keep going with it?
So it's just, there's so many elements. One of them is that I don't think there's a bottom to how good we can get. And with most things, when I see the end, I get kind of bored because it's like, I can achieve something, but then it's the end to it. And it doesn't inspire me, but there's no depth to how much you can learn about the human mind and how much you can explore that, understand that. So that's my side of things. Another thing is it's very exciting. You almost, as a coach, you're like a detective. You're trying to understand the person and again, there's no end to it. And on the side of the client, I just get such an enormous kick from seeing people accomplishing things they didn't think were possible, especially when I see people not giving up and really going after something through the obstacles and through the hurdles. I just love that feeling. It just inspires me so much.
That's really great. And I can see just on your face the excitement that it gives you when you're talking about it, which is wonderful. And what do people, so when they come to you, and as you say, you want to tap into that potential, are they looking, when they define success, are they defining that next step, that progression as financial, or is it a range of different things that everybody's aiming for that, is different, or are we all the same?
Very good question. So I think I actually commented in something along those lines on that topic yesterday on LinkedIn, and sparked a bit of a conversation, because we are so conditioned by the social media and marketing into what we think success is. And typically it's very much money related. So it's a big house and cars and being size 0 or having massive shoulders and all these things, right? Looking flashy and amazing and beautiful and being able to buy everything we want. And it's fine for some people. This is the definition of success. Although I think that wealth is just a medium for people to get what they really want, whether it's security, whether it's love from other people, whether it's feeling significant, whether it's being able to have variety in their life, contribute and learn and all these things. So everyone is different, but I always encourage people. For me, one of the most important values is authenticity. And when people come to me and they say, "Oh, I want to achieve this," and I always probe a little bit deeper into, or let's say a lot deeper into, okay, why do you want that? And interestingly, the reason why people want the X, Y, Z is actually not the very thing. It's because it will provide them certain feelings, certain emotion. And very often it's the pressure of parents being successful, sibling being successful. They want to feel good in front of their friends and all this stuff. And I always explore with people and encourage them to define their own version of success. And for some people, it's having big, healthy family. For some people, it's being able to travel the world. For some people, it's to have multi-million pound business. It's different, and people should figure out what it is for them and then pursue that.
And that's something that I really agree with, that I think we get a lot of, as you say, that vision of what success is. And yet the reality is success is different to all of us, and being able to accept that and own it, I guess, is really important. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of feedback on mine. Hopefully it's not going to come through too much. So one of the things I was wondering about is you were saying that when you start delving into people's background and why it is that they want to achieve whatever they've talked to you about, do you ever find that what they really want is actually completely different, but they're worried about that peer pressure, whether it's from their family or their friends? And if so, are you then able to help them to recognize that what they want is actually more important, and that they can be successful and withstand that peer pressure? Does that make sense?
Yes, so totally does make sense, and it's so important again for people to define their own success. And yes, very often it comes with, my friends have. This is a metaphor, so simplified. My friends have cars, so I should have cars. Or everyone in our family is a doctor, therefore I should be a doctor. But I'm not passionate about being a doctor. That's not what I want to do. I want to be an architect, for example. And I always lead people or guide people to explore what would happen if they became a doctor. Okay, mom is happy. That's all nice and sweet. But almost imagine what would your life be like. And the worst thing is when on the surface, when you are successful, but deep inside you're really miserable because you're living a life that is not the one that you wanted. As because you were too afraid to say no, or too afraid to be judged or laughed at, to give you an example, when I started coaching or just getting into coaching, exploring that, my closest friends were talking me out of it. They're saying, "Are you crazy? Coaching, is it even real? What, just, do a PhD in psychology and be, big psychologist and all this stuff." And the interesting thing is, a couple of years later, when I started making better money through coaching than them in their jobs, you know what they started saying? "Oh, Thomas, I'm your biggest fan." Then screw you. When I needed you the most, then you were not really supportive. So when there is a peer pressure for you to be whatever, the pressure is, I always encourage people to ask themselves, think about who is saying that and why. Right? Sometimes people if you want to start a business and everyone who is in a regular 9-to-5 job is trying to talk you out of it, of course they are, because they just don't understand it. They're in a job for a reason. You can't expect them to understand going through the risk and ups and downs of having a business. What do you think Richard Branson would say if he said, "I'm thinking of starting a business"? Someone who has 150 businesses, he would probably say, "Go for it."
So this is something which, I come across with a lot of smaller companies or people who are starting up, basically. And exactly as you said, they've decided to leave their job. So they've been in, for me, typically the people I'm engaging with have come from more of a corporate background, have now left it. And they always seem to have two voices. So on one side, they've got the voice which is going, "Why do you want to leave a job? It's a good job. You get paid well. You're doing great. It's a regular income." On the other side, they've got probably their friends who are going, "Oh yeah, you'll be fantastic at that. You'll be absolutely brilliant at it." And when the pressure starts to come in, because, it's hard starting a business, it's hard to get to that point where it is successful. They're kind of between a rock and a hard place, because they don't want to admit to the person who told them not to leave their job that actually it's really tough. And they don't want to admit to the people who said they'll be brilliant that actually they're not feeling very brilliant at the moment. So do you have any suggestions on how they can cope with that and have that self-confidence to, I guess, block out the noise?
Right. Interesting. I'm writing a book now, as you probably know, and it's going to be about why okay is not enough. And I just finished writing the section about exactly that. And these people, they're stuck in the okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I call it tolerable discomfort. When it kind of sucks, they're not happy, but it's not bad enough to really take the leap or to put themselves truly through that hustle. And because when we are in pain, when life really goes down the drain, we're willing to do anything. Like the change becomes a must. Like you have to change. You have to do something about it. When life is okay, when you're in a job that pays relatively well and enjoying it, but so that's the most dangerous place to be stuck in, because there's not enough motivation and almost too much to let go of to start working on something else, starting a business, because all of a sudden you're entering this whole uncertainty and letting go of something secure. But then there is this passion for what you want to do. There's this pull. And as you said, people are kind of torn between these two directions. So what people, like my tip for people, you say if they're wanting to start a business, for example, and they, it sounds a bit of like an imposter syndrome, where they're not being authentic to the employer or whoever. They don't want to say, "Hey, I'm not really happy here. I want to do something different." To the people that are say, "Oh, you'll be amazing at this," they say, "Oh, I'm actually scared. I don't know. What if I'm not amazing?" For example. So here is what I believe in, that anything that you are hiding will breed insecurity, right? Because whatever we are hiding, it inherently, there must be something wrong with it. Otherwise, why would we hide it, right? And oftentimes there's nothing wrong with it, right? It's totally okay to say, "Hey, yes, you're telling me I'm amazing, or I would be amazing, but I'm scared because I've never done this before. I'm letting go of something that pays my bills, and I've been accustomed to this security of my job. I appreciate that you're so supportive, but hey, you know, let me be honest with you. And it's not really about what they will think, but it's about how it makes you feel, because all of a sudden you're removing the pressure of their expectation and them having incorrect idea of how you feel and so on. And when you are authentic, all the pressure goes away. And obviously with employer, for example, it's slightly different. You don't want to say, hey, it wouldn't probably help if you'd start talking at your current workplace to say, hey, I want to start a business. But all these, we as humans, are we scared of change, even change for better? Because we are in life, typically in our place in life, because somehow it works, right? Nobody can sustain too much pain and discomfort for too long. People just crawl their way out of it somehow, right? Or make the change. So inherently change carries some risk, and we're trying to avoid it. We don't want risk in our life because we want certainty.
So if you're, so first of all, I guess, just to repeat back and make sure that I've got it, is if I'm honest with those people, whichever side they're on, to be going, actually, yes, it is frightening. Yes, there is risk involved. And yes, this is how I'm feeling, but I believe this is right for me. Then that's going to take the pressure off of me, because they know how I'm feeling. I'm not trying to live up to some expectations that they put on me and I somehow feel I'm carrying.
Yeah, and it's okay to be afraid. Like, show me someone, or tell me if there is someone who's starting a business who's not scared of that it's going to fail. Yeah, it could be someone who's starting their 15th business and 14 previous ones were successful, for example, or they have a brilliant idea. Like, it's always a mixture of excitement, mixture of fear. It's just entrepreneurship.
So what about if you're the one who's now feeling that doubt? If you've been, you've left the job, you're partway down the road, you've discovered that you now have to suddenly, become a salesperson, you've got to become a marketing person, you've got to become a copywriter, you've got to learn how to do your own IT. All of these things are suddenly there for you to do. And you're beginning to doubt yourself, whether or not you can be successful. Do you have any tips or guidance on what people can do, apart from hiring you, Thomas?
So the first mistake that people do is that they create all these stories in their own heads. Like, oh, I'm not going to be set. What if I fail? And these are negative. And again, it's just our ego that wants to look good. You want to look good, right? And the only fear people have is that they start a business and something will go wrong, and either they lose money or business won't be successful. And ultimately, it's about we won't be looking good. But of course, there's risk, maybe the family and these potential things, but there's this discomfort of, not being good, like not being, the greatest, and not looking good. And so the first thing is that to stop the stories. And the best way to stop creating the story in your own head is to ask yourself, okay, what are the facts?
Okay.
Like you say, oh, I'm not a great marketer, no one's going to read my emails. Well, how many have you sent? Well, I haven't sent any. So how do you know that no one's going to read them? Well, I don't know. Well, so the facts are saying, well, you got nothing to base your story on. And so if you're making up story, why wouldn't you make a good one? Right? Something that will make you a little bit more positive and say, you know what, I will send an email. And people expect, we all want to be awesome and amazing. And when we put something out there that people will love it. And what makes me smile is that when people tell me that they are scared to, let's say, start business or pursue their passion because their fear of success, like they would become too successful too quickly. I'm like, okay, come on. Like, show me when it actually happened. Show me someone who became too successful too quickly. Those overnight success stories have been 20 years in the making, right? Those people were so ready for it. Adele, she was singing in bars and weddings or who knows where for years and years and years. And at in her 30s or so, someone noticed, and then she became successful. She was so ready for it. So I always tell people, come on, it's like running. You're telling me, oh, I'm scared to run. I'm sitting on my ass because I'm scared if I start running. What if I run too fast? My clothes will be torn off me. My hair will blow off. Like, okay, look, first of all, let's be real. Secondly,
that's pretty fast.
Yeah, that's pretty fast, right? Secondly, you can always slow down. You can pick your own speed with all these things.
And I think that's a really valid point, is that you don't have to move at someone else's pace, whether it's a real pace or a perceived pace. You can move at the pace that is right for you. And that's a good point. Sorry, and I like the running analogy.
I just made it up, so it wasn't the most realistic one. But one thing is how to stop being scared is let's be real. What are the facts? And the next thing is stop making it about yourself, right? We all are in business, whether you are selling chewing gums or whether you are a coach or a consultant of some sort or making handbags. You do that, first of all, because you should love the process of it. And secondly, you do that because, you do it sort of for other people. So it was the first few months of me coaching, and I was coaching for free. I wanted to look good. I wanted people say, wow, that was an amazing session. I still want people to say that, but it's not important to me. Like, I wanted to say that because it helped them. So when we start making it about ourselves, wanting to look good, right? And focus on the person in front of you, focus on your customer, do it for them. If you're writing that email or work on your marketing, focus on them and do what will resonate with them. Obviously, it's something that is authentic to you. And unless we're a model, it's not about looking good.
Very true. And if you're going, so as you said, when you started off, you were coaching initially for free. And then I know that you started doing, charging at a very small amount. How did you find that progression to actually charging the amount that you actually feel equates to the value that you give? Because I think that's something a lot of people have trouble with. They undervalue themselves. They question, why would somebody pay that? And they find it really difficult to put that price at what really is the price level it should be.
So when I started coaching, I didn't really have many role models or someone to copy. And I was, for almost the first 8-9 months or so I was coaching for free for 6 months. And then basically I was offering the bundle of 6 sessions for free. And these were the worst clients. They were amazing people, but the worst clients, because they had no skin in the game. They were not showing up to the sessions because, well, they got nothing to lose. Why would they sometimes, right? And then this client, this lady, older lady, she had 6 sessions with me and she wanted to continue. And I knew that there was coming. And I, with a shaky voice, I told her, okay, I would, of course, I would love to continue working with you, but as you know, there would be a fee. She was like, yeah, okay, how much? 25 pounds per session. And she said, yeah, that's okay. I'm like, wow, it's, in my mind was just, someone will pay me 25 pounds for it. In the essence, it's a conversation, right?
Yes.
And so, that felt uncomfortable at the time for me. But I was coaching on that fee for a little bit. And then I thought, you get this feeling that people are getting great results and you feel like, well, I think it's worth more. And I pushed the fee a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. I personally think it's way better to grow into your fees and feel great about yourself. I always needed to feel justified that I'm providing enough value to people that, in exchange for the fee. And rather than some people just jump into coaching, let's say new coaches, and they put the price really high. And I'm thinking, well, it's silly, because you probably don't have the confidence and the skills and the whole kind of spiel to sell it effectively, and you'll be getting no after no after no, which will be knocking your confidence down, and it's sort of downward spiral. It's like going to the gym. You try to bench press. You wouldn't try to bench press 200 kilos right away. You put there, 30, and over time you grow into it. That's my philosophy of that. That's how I go into my fees. And over the last 5 years, I've been raising the fee little by little. There were some instances where clients insisted to pay me more. I'm like, wow, okay, I'm getting a pay rise, fantastic. And so every time when I got too comfortable with pitching my price, I thought, maybe I can try a little bit more. And I've been doing it, for the last 5 years, and here I am.
And that's a good tip as well, to not, I've had people who are saying to me, well, you should be charging more. And I said, well, no, I need to establish at this level, and then I will feel confident in going up and getting to the next level. So I do, strongly agree with that, gradually increasing, but yet not giving it away, because, I'm doing some mentoring at the moment, and which is via a charity, and that person, as you said, has no skin in the game. So their actual progression is still really quite minimal. And I think that if they had something to lose, that they really felt strongly about, then that would actually be driving them, whether that was money or something else. So there's definitely something about what you've got to lose if you don't push into it.
Yeah, and also there is this, in terms of fees, what we are comfortable charging, it really depends on our relationship with money and what we think is normal. So when I got into coaching, I had 2 jobs at the time, and I was working with disabled people and people with brain damage and disabilities. And I think I was making £12 per hour or something like that. And I thought, yeah, okay, it's not that bad. There are people working for $7.25, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then therefore, charging double for easy job, for something I love, because many people with jobs see almost compensation, their salary as a compensation for their misery at work. So when you actually do something really enjoyable, something that you love, sometimes it doesn't feel right to ask money for that, because you enjoy it, you're having fun, but that's how it should be. Right. So, and also now, again, I've been coaching for years, and my clients are, some of them very, very successful people, and knowing how much money they are making, I know that my fee is nothing for them.
So in the grand scheme of who your target audience is, it's actually a very, sensible price, I guess, or it doesn't make a big dent in their daily or monthly living.
Yeah.
So speaking of clients, how do you find it? So do you find now that when you've reached the point that you're at, that clients come to you, or are you still having to go out and find clients? And again, do you have any learnings or advice about, how to get those clients, how to develop those relationships and turn them into customers?
Mm-hmm. So what I believe is very important for building a good method of attracting clients. So first of all, you need to have a very good profile, a very strong profile. You need to come across very credible, whatever that means in your industry. And that comes with obviously having a lot of content out there, associating yourself with the right people and being visible, and your presence, the way you show up, everything is either adding to your profile or is taking away, right? So the stronger your profile, and obviously there is people there are lurkers out there that they don't say anything, they don't like your post, you don't know about them, but they watch you, right? And every so often it happens to me that someone comes for a consultation and they say, oh, I've been a big fan, I've been following you for years. I'm like, wow, I've never noticed you anywhere. How is that possible? Oh, I'm kind of under the radar. I'm like, wow, okay. So and it depends on the kind of business, but just being out there, visible, and presenting yourself as an expert, or letting people know that you're the expert in your industry, you know your stuff. So sharing content, sharing value, and of course, look, I don't think there is such thing as just sitting at home and people be coming to you, right? Even if you put a lot of money into marketing, whether it's Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, you will be driving the traffic somewhere, your website, right? So the website needs to have a very strong profile. You need to have a very strong profile on your website. It needs to convert, whether it's whatever you're selling, if you're selling a product or you're offering, some kind of service. And so that's one thing. Marketing can be great, but if you have a rubbish website or rubbish LinkedIn profile or so, it will be money out of the window. And so still, you need to be very proactive. So as we've learned in our training, picking up the phone and connecting with people. When I mentor new coaches, one of the first things I want them to do is to pick up the phone and call almost everyone they know, even just to tell them, hey, I just want to let you know, this is what I do. This is the kind of people I help. This is the problem I help them solve, or this is the product that I have. Because if you call 500 people, that's 500 people who know now about your service or product. And they probably have a couple hundred people in their network. And so I can't do the math in my, is it 100,000 people? It's probably more.
Yes, it's a lot.
A lot of people, right? And it takes a lot of time to build your business to the stage where people are just coming to you. I mean, I'm not there yet myself. People do contact me through LinkedIn and Facebook and through my website. But again, it's because I'm there. I'm constantly educating them on what I do, how I can help them, educating them on their problems and how they can solve them. Because I always tell people, if you have business and people are not buying from you, it's because not enough people know, or not the right people know what you can help them with.
So in some ways, it comes back to what you said before about the overnight success, is that there's no overnight success, that even if people are seeming to just come to you, it is because of all the work that you've put in or continuing to put in that may not appear as work. It's just, you're putting stuff out there, you're establishing your credibility and all of those types of things.
And it really comes down to selling, but selling not as selling is not a dirty word. And we've been conditioned by the society and the bad salespeople that selling is something negative. Right? If selling is done right, it's fun, it's exciting, everyone is having a good time. And if it's selling shouldn't be pushy. I believe that the only direction you can push someone is away. Right? So it's about finding that connection with your client and their problems and showing them how you can potentially help them. And they should be excited. They should feel like, oh, I really want to work with you. I want you to help me with this because it sounds like you know your stuff. Sounds like you can help me. I'm willing to pay for this. And many people see selling as a kind of a sneaky way to get into someone's wallet. Of course, if you think of selling that way, then it will be uncomfortable for me as well.
And I guess the thing is that we probably don't remember the good sales experiences that we've had because they didn't feel like sales. So all that we're basing it on are the bad ones, which are the ones that we're thinking, oh, I don't want to be like that, because those are the ones that stick out in our memories.
That's a great point. That's a very, very good point. Yeah, that's true. Because that's the thing. When we sold really well, we don't even know that it happens. It just feels like, wow, I want this thing. right? Yeah, somehow you just showed me how it works, but wow, now I feel like I can't live without it.
That's it. It's something now that you want and need, as opposed to you forced me to buy this, or I'm trying to back out of the room as quickly as possible.
Exactly. That's a very good point.
So, Thomas, one of the things that you said, and I think we touched on it a little bit at the beginning, but okay is not enough. And that could be perceived as sorry, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you just took that and you didn't know you and hadn't been speaking to you, that it could be that, if you're living a life that doesn't have these highs that other people might see, again, financially, that sort of thing, that it's not enough. But I don't think that's actually what you're saying. I think you're trying to say that you need to live the life that you want to live, as opposed to just settling for whatever is happening, which may not be making you happy.
But let me ask you something. Have you watched a movie that was okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you watched it again?
Probably not.
Okay. Have you gone on holidays to some resort or something that was okay?
Again, yeah, you wouldn't be rushing back.
Exactly. So, and most people say, they read a book, it was okay. Have you read it again? No, really? Why would I? So why would you be tolerating an okay life? Right? And I think the worst feeling is regret, because regret comes after it's done. Regret comes after when you can't fix it, when it's too late. And we are on this planet for maybe 80 years if we are lucky, and the first 15 we just doing what we're being told, because we have to play along. The last 15 years we probably also be trying to remember what we were told. Right? So what we're left with is maybe 40 50 years of a life where we are in control, and we have enough strength and power or energy to do what we want. And it must be I don't want to experience that I'm at the end of my life, or when I'm in the state when I just can't do much anymore, thinking, I should have tried, or should have done this when I had the opportunity. And there are many people that I talk to that they're on certain path in life, and it's okay. It's like they're not in horrendous pain, but it's not what they want. There's usually the feeling they should either be doing something different or they should be doing much better. But the challenge is that, again, when you're in this okay zone, anything above, it's an extra. It's a want, but it's not a must. It's not, we want to, but we don't have to. And that's why it's so hard to get motivated into, really going through all these ups and downs and pushing and creating the life that you want. But yeah, and it's not for everyone. Not everyone, of course, decides to create that life. But I can see it with the clients that I work with, when they set themselves on the path that they're really excited and passionate about, and they pursue it, and they're getting all these successes. The way it feels to them, they never regret that, even if they sometimes find out, like, hey, I've tried that, it was amazing, I realized my idea of that was a little bit different, I want to pursue kind of different path. But they're happy that they tried, because they don't have to look back and think, oh, I wonder if I tried, how far I would have got.
And I think you're absolutely right, that it's very easy to stay on that path, which is okay. It's giving you whatever level you need to live your life, but it's not necessarily exciting you or as rewarding, or taking you down that path, which is more risky in whatever way, whether that's financially, whether that's putting yourself out there in some way, whether it's running too fast, whatever it is. But if you don't, and you get to that age where it is now too late, for whatever reason, then yeah, I can see that you don't want to look back and go, oh, if only I'd tried that. So I guess it's like if you were to look back and go, oh, if only I'd gone to England, rather than sorry, then my life would have been better. But instead, you came.
Yeah, yeah. And was it scary? Like totally. And the thing is that I think there's a mistake that people make when it comes to goals. They're always being told dream big and have big exciting goals. People get carried away and they think, let's say they want to have a big business and they're in a job and they start thinking, oh, I want a business and I will change the world. I want to have dozens of employees and it'll be amazing. But the kind of the difference between where they are now and where they want to be, they look at the distance and they think, well, who am I to dream this? And I don't even know how to start a business, let alone how to have dozens or hundreds of employees and changing the world. I always tell people, look, just take it little by little. You will grow into that. If someone told me 5 years ago that I will have calendar full for the next 3 weeks, from session after session, and coaching all these millionaires and what do you call it? Celebrities and entrepreneurs and lawyers and doctors and all that stuff, I'll be like, whoa, hold on, no. First of all, it's never gonna happen. Who am I to coach someone like that? Secondly, I'm too scared to coach someone like that. What if I do something wrong? And what if they don't, like the way I coach? All these, again, stories, right? But back then I just started, okay, I want to learn what coaching is about. I want to dip my toe into it, see if I like it. And I've grown into that. And so when people are scared of these big, massive goals, I say, okay, it's like climbing a mountain. You're not climbing looking at the top all the time, right? You're looking under your feet where you're stepping and take it one step at a time.
And I think this is where, when I'm working with people as well, is that's a lot of what I'm doing is getting them to step back and say, yes, you want to be here, but what's the first step you take? So even something as simple as a website, I hear people getting themselves caught up into this whole, oh my God, I need a website and it's got to have all of these things on it. And it's saying, well, actually, if you just step back, what are you trying to do? You actually just need a place for people to go to. It could be a single page, the rest of it can come later, but it's quite difficult when we've got this perception of where we want to be or what success looks like to realize that actually I just need to start here and that's actually fine.
Totally, because amazing ability humans and most living things have is that we adapt, right? Which also can work against us because we can adapt to really crappy life situation, but we can also adapt to the challenges. To give you a quick example, one of my clients, she's an amazing girl. She's a confidence coach for women and brilliant coach. And it was time for her to have a website. And so she made a website and she wanted to be making videos for Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. She was too scared. And I said, listen, you'll be amazing. No, I'm not ready. I said, oh, bullshit. You know what? Let's do this 30-day challenge. I want you to send me 1-minute video on WhatsApp every day. Talk to me. Say, I don't talk about your mom, about your dog, about your day. I don't care. But send me 1-minute video every day. And she did. And it was day one. Obviously, day one was all nervous and everything. Day 10 was actually much better. Day 15, she was really comfortable with that. Day 20, day 25. Before we reached the day 30, she told me, hey, listen, I'm ready. Let's do something. I'm kind of bored just sending these videos. I'm ready for Instagram. And she's been now doing Instagram videos and Facebook Lives and all this stuff. Because you see, before she was looking at this big, oh my God, I got thousands of videos and what would people say? And what if someone doesn't like me? Okay, let's take it little by little. And she got used to that, used to camera and realized that, okay, it's actually not that bad. I'm just being myself on the video. And now she has lots of videos. She's attracting clients through Instagram. And it didn't take that long, less than 30 steps.
Which is amazing. And fantastic for her and for you to have seen that just those little steps were going to get her to where she needed to be. And I guess that's again that's that fear of putting ourselves out there, isn't it? That if I'm going to do this, I look at this person and they've done this, oh, so professional, um, whatever it is, it looks very swish and everything, and forgetting the steps that they've taken to get there.
It's important to keep in mind that we have to, even those people started somewhere, and those professionals who have amazing websites and charging thousands or millions or who knows what, they attract certain kind of, their clients are not your clients, right? And I always say, play your own game. You can't win someone else's game, right? They're better at it and they'll be doing their thing. You go there and do your thing. And it's important to know that, okay, we all have to start somewhere. As you know, our mentor says, be prolific, not perfect. And just knowing that we all grow and develop over time. And it's great to look back than months or even years and to see how far you've gone and where you started. It's kind of cute when you look at your first brochure or something, you think, oh my God, I can't believe I put this out there. But it's not just you seeing that. I spoke to someone on Saturday on the workshop, and this lady was saying, again, I've never heard of her, just recently, and she said, I've been following you for years, and it's just so amazing to watch you grow and go from strength to strength, and how your brand is evolving, and how you're growing with your influence and all this stuff. And so people see it, and if you start at the top, there's no room to grow, right? So it's great to start somewhere in the middle or somewhere towards the bottom, and grow and show people how you can, you developing yourself. And I always tell everyone, especially coaches, look, you're writing a story with your own life. Make sure that it's inspirational. Make sure that it motivates people and it shows other people that it's possible. And you challenging your fears, and you are willing to be uncomfortable, and you're willing to mess up sometimes. It's so interesting. I don't know if you saw it. Every month I'm posting an article with an update on my goals. I set goals every year, and every month I release an update. And
yes, I've seen it.
I started last year, and towards the end of the year, you know what? I didn't manage to achieve all these goals. Some of them I decided not to pursue anymore because they were not relevant. Some of them I was too ambitious. And when people comment on that, they always say, not always, but very often they say, you know what I like the most? That you're actually being honest that you didn't accomplish everything. It really makes me feel like, you're real. And I'm being very authentic. And I initially thought, like, wow, okay, are they going to think them, as a coach, I'm not 100%, but hey, that's the reality. I'm not 100%, but I actually added to my credibility.
Which is interesting, again, because that perception that we often have around needing to be perfect, needing to not have any weaknesses around it. And yet, as you've said all the way through this conversation, is that authenticity, that being honest, that being upfront actually has a much bigger impact on people and how they relate to us and how they respond to us personally, which ultimately is who they're dealing with, whatever they're buying from you, whether they're buying a physical object or whether they're buying a service from you. You are the intermediary to that result. Yeah.
Interestingly, someone told me a few days ago, because I do work a lot. I love what I do. So oftentimes it's 11:30 at night. I'm replying to emails and so on. And someone told me, say, hey, don't you think you may come across sometimes a little bit intimidating, especially for men, because you working so hard. So they may feel like a little bit inferior. They don't feel man enough. And I thought, wow, I never thought of that. But then again, if anything, I want to set an example of what's doable. And I'm not 100%. Like, there is so much more I could do. But yeah, sometimes even being, and please don't take this the wrong way. Like, let's put it this way: if you were perfect, people probably wouldn't like it because it would make them feel very inadequate. And if you were perfect, it would be impossible to match it. So being real is just, again, adding to being relatable. and you come across human. And yes, no one, we want perfection, but we don't want perfection from, like, we wouldn't like perfection on other people.
Well, and let's face it, perfection is kind of boring. If everything was perfect, there just wouldn't be anything, of interest really in life.
Exactly.
So Thomas, one of the things you touched on there was the fact that you do work long hours, but that's largely because you enjoy what you do. Something which is obviously, hugely topical at the moment is around the mental health, the mental well-being, and making sure that you're, looking after yourself. What kind of things do you do to make sure that you aren't burning out, that you aren't just putting in tons of hours and ending up stressed, or hopefully not ending up stressed?
Yeah, I've been having these conversations with my girlfriend, because she can see me working a lot, but I really do enjoy what I do. So I don't even like going on holidays too much, because I miss my work, right? And it's not like, oh my God, I should be doing something. It's just not. I really enjoy what I do, whether it's even marketing or writing articles, and obviously coaching and everything about business. But I've recently, I thought, no, I need to pick up some hobbies again. And I do read, and I do run. And saying that even running and reading, it's not purely for fun. I read because I want to learn stuff, and because it's always something factual. And I run to get fit. So that all had some kind of personal development purpose. So because I'm a sort of musician, I've always played guitar or drums and so on. So I set myself a goal that if I hit a certain target on a certain month, then I would get myself a electric guitar again. And I did. So I got it last month, February, or I think February. So that I just now I do that. Music is great to relax. And so yeah, I just also unplugging for a little bit. I'm trying to, I'm actually not on social media much, even though to some people it looks like I'm there a lot. I'm rarely on Facebook. I'm rarely on Twitter. I'm LinkedIn somewhat, but I'm staying away from that noise. It's purely kind of just having some presence there. I meditate.
Okay.
Every day I do at least 10 minutes. Journaling is great. So just sitting down with a pen and paper, or I now have the iPad with a pen and stuff, and just writing some thoughts down. And I find planning extremely relaxing and comforting. Just planning about business and brainstorming some ideas. But you see, it's all related to what I do.
Well, it is, but I think there's also something about getting things down, and whether they're business or they're personal, by just writing stuff down. To me, there's something about the physical act of writing it and being able to see it, which allows you to either say, okay, I need to do that in my business, and now it's something to focus on, or for you to put it aside and to let it out of your brain because you've written it down and you've looked at it and you said, yeah, okay, that's written down. I know I can come back to it. So there's a conscious letting go. So while you could say it's all about work, but I think there is something about just releasing it, and saying, okay, now I'm going to step back because I don't need to worry about that one. I do need to worry about this one. And actually, I need to go for that guitar lesson now.
Yeah. And so I think music in general is really great. It's very close to, humans. Has been part of our history for thousands of years. So there's definitely something about it. And of course, your relationships. I make sure that every week, with my girlfriend, we go out, so either for dinner or just a walk or something. Just nurturing these relationships that are important in your life, and even just talk to my parents and things like that. Just taking some, I would say, scheduling some time out. I have to schedule these things. Yeah.
which is fine. It's important. And if that's the way it works for you, then it doesn't matter, if somebody else just fits it in as and when. If, scheduled means that it's going to happen. That your girlfriend or your family are going to get the time with you that you both want.
Yeah, but
So,
meditation is so important. I encourage everyone to take 10 minutes out of their day, and there's so many great apps on your phone that you can use. And there is a saying that if you can't find 10 minutes to meditate, then you need 20 minutes to meditate.
And it does have a huge impact on you, doesn't it? I've been doing a mixture. Sometimes it's just meditation, but then I'm doing this program where they also do, it's a guided meditation, but it's walking. So it's while you're walking, and they want you to, if possible, to be outside, and they're talking you through, just, feeling, your connection to the earth, noticing the things around you, noticing how much you can actually see around you without even turning your head. And it's actually really quite nice, because it just, I don't know, takes you out of yourself and into thinking of something else. So yeah, I agree with you.
Favorite meditations is just when you sit and focus on what it feels like to be you, right? Like feel like your body. They say, the scan, but almost like, I don't know how to describe, just really experiencing what it's like to be you. That's my favorite one.
I'll have to try that one. I don't think I've done that. I think there is that need. So I was talking to Mats the other day, and he was saying how often in life we're performing, and you're out and you're giving a talk, whatever you're doing, you're performing. So I think there's something to what you're saying about actually just being you, and whatever and whoever you are.
Yeah. Meditation, being present. But the walking meditation I do as well. I think it's great because it really helps you experience the now, like what the real life experience, because we spend so much time thinking about the past, reliving, usually oh, did I forget something? Oh, why did I have this conversation? Why didn't I say this? And then also in the future, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, and how am I going to say this to that person? And the real life experience is passing by, and none of either the past or the future is real, right? And so we're missing out on the very thing, the only thing there is.
And I think it's exacerbated these days with all of the technology, and with the seeming desire or need to capture it. And that if I haven't taken a picture and I haven't posted it somewhere, then it didn't happen, as opposed to going, actually, it doesn't matter whether somebody else remotely is aware I'm doing this. As you say, I'm just here experiencing it now.
Yeah, totally.
So Tomas, it's been, really interesting. And I just wanted to see if there's anything you'd like to say before we wrap up.
Ooh. I don't have anything prepared, but I would encourage everyone who is listening to start practicing being really authentic, being genuine, be true to themselves, and being open, and not being scared to sometimes say, hey, I don't know, or no, I don't like this, or I want something different, and really standing up for themselves, and because it's very liberating, and life becomes so much better. And you'll see any kind of fear or insecurity can actually be your, as I call it, superpower, right? If you're not scared of it, maybe it is a uniqueness, that you think it's something wrong with it, but it's actually, it could be something that will help you stand out from the crowd. And yeah, don't be afraid to follow your passions. Yeah, that's what I would share probably.
That is great. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for being on the show today.
Absolute pleasure being here. Great question. Thank you very much. And I hope your listeners will get something out of this.
You've been listening to Debra Levitt on Bridging Gaps, the Business Podcast.